When three bullies trapped Kareem behind the gym, they expected him to be scared. But within moments, one of them was down, and the others quickly realized what it meant to pick on the wrong guy. Hardly anyone noticed when Kareem Tolliver stepped into Millstone High in Lansing, Michigan. No warm welcome, no curious stares, just another mid-semester transfer. His backpack was torn, his hoodie worn out, and he moved with quiet caution, the kind that comes from learning to observe a room before ever speaking in it. It was a chilly Monday. Snow-mixed slush still edged the pavement, and the bell rang sharply through the corridors. At his locker, Kareem paused, eyes scanning unfamiliar faces rushing past. He wasn't afraid, just familiar with the drill. Find your classrooms, stay under the radar, and don't stand out. In first period math, a few students glanced up as he walked in. A girl whispered behind her hand. The teacher gave him a quick smile, gestured toward a seat in the back, and went on no intro, no questions, just quiet. Kareem was fine with that. Back in Detroit, silence usually meant safety. He didn't flash style. He didn't try to show off. His uncle called it moving invisible, a habit you pick up in places where attention can get you hurt. But Millstone High wasn't anything like Detroit. It was clean, well kept. The students wore expensive clothes, their hair always perfect, and they walked like they owned the place. No one said anything cruel, at least not out loud, but Kareem saw the glances. The way a kid in gym looked at his faded hoodie. How some stared at his scuffed shoes. By the third day, Kareem was eating alone at a back table in the cafeteria, spaghetti, banana, chocolate milk. Quiet. Observing. That's when he heard it. Yo, what even is that? You bring that from home or something? Kareem looked up. A tall white guy in a varsity jacket stood nearby, smirking. Brock Simmons, football co-captain, star tight end, self-appointed king of the junior class. Two other boys stood beside him, grinning like they were in on some joke. Kareem didn't reply. Man's eating like it's the Great Depression, Brock added, louder this time. A few students nearby laughed. Not everyone, but enough. Kareem kept eating. Head down. He wasn't here for fights. One of Brock's buddies, short with a buzz cut, leaned in. You deaf or just slow? Kareem met his eyes for just a second. Then calmly grabbed his milk, stood, and said, I'm done. No scene. No backtalk. He just left the tray behind and walked out. But it didn't stop there. That afternoon, someone knocked his books off his desk in science. No one admitted it. The teacher didn't see. After school, his locker was marked with the words cherry case in dry erase marker. It came off easily, but the message stuck. That night, Kareem rode the number 12 bus to the edge of town, to his uncle's gym behind the tire shop. The smell of sweat and old leather hit him before the bell above the door even rang. Uncle Reggie looked up while wrapping someone's hands. You all right? Yeah, Kareem muttered. Just school. Reggie didn't push. He nodded toward the mats. Let it out. That's what they're there for. Kareem didn't speak. He just changed, stepped onto the mat, and started working the pads. Hooks, counters, footwork. Fast, precise, controlled. He didn't need to prove anything. He just needed to remember what Reggie taught him. Never let your anger take control. Still, that cafeteria joke started a chain reaction Kareem hadn't intended. It should have been nothing, a cheap shot, quickly forgotten. But for Brock, it wasn't about the joke. It was the fact that Kareem didn't flinch, didn't react, just walked away. That burned Brock more than anything. By Friday, Kareem's name was spreading in the locker rooms. The new kid's got attitude, someone said. He just stares. Another added like that alone made him a threat. In gym class, Kareem got paired with Brock for basketball drills. Coach called out names and the guys lined up. Brock threw the ball a little too hard at Kareem's chest. Come on, Tolliver. Let's see what you've got. Kareem dribbled it calmly. We're just passing, right? Yeah, just passing. But when Kareem sent the ball back, it hit Brock's chest with a sharp snap, straight and clean. The sound echoed. Brock blinked. Some of the other guys chuckled. Dang, someone whispered. Brock forced a tight smile. All right, cool. But that was the moment he decided he didn't like Kareem. From there, things got petty. Comments in the hallway, gum in his locker, even a trip near the vending machine. Kareem never reacted, never told, just kept walking. But silence in a school like Millstone? That was fuel. And Brock had the spark. Lunch became Brock's stage. He'd yell jokes across the cafeteria. "You from Detroit, right? You bring your bulletproof vest or leave it at home?" Laughter followed, some genuine, some nervous. But no one stood up for Kareem. He just stared at his sandwich. One of Brock's guys, Logan Ferris, leaned over. "Dude, I think he's actually crazy. Look at him. He doesn't even blink." "He's not crazy," Brock said, loud enough for the room. "He's just another hood story waiting to happen." That line dug under Kareem's skin. After school, he walked faster than usual to the bus stop. He'd seen how this kind of thing builds. He knew the signs, but this time it felt personal. At home, Uncle Reggie saw the tension in Kareem's jaw. "You holding something in?" Kareem nodded slowly, trying to. Reggie set down his coffee. "Sometimes holding it back's harder than swinging. You get what I mean?" "Yeah. You're not there to teach anyone a lesson. You're here to graduate, to build something," Reggie said. He paused, studying Kareem's face. "But if someone corners you, you don't let them walk all over you either." Kareem didn't reply. He didn't have to. Back at school, the gossip began to change. A news story started to spread that Kareem had a criminal history, that he got expelled from his last school, even that he once attacked a teacher in 8th grade. It was true, but nobody cared. During history class, Brock leaned forward from behind. "You ever seen a real fight, Tolliver?" Kareem didn't turn around. "Yeah. I mean up close, not on the screen. Blood on the floor type." Kareem finally glanced over his shoulder. "You don't want that kind." Brock smirked. "That a threat?" "It's a warning." That smirk faded just a bit. But the next day, Brock made a decision. He waited for Kareem outside the gym after 6th period. Kareem, headphones in, was heading toward the back parking lot where the late buses lined up. Brock and 2 of his boys followed quietly. "Yo, Tolliver." Kareem turned, pulling out one earbud. "You think you're tough?" "No, you act like it." "I act like I want to be left alone." "You don't get that choice." Kareem's shoulders stiffened. "You finished?" Brock stepped closer. "Not yet." The bell rang, and students flooded the halls, but time seemed to freeze in that moment. What Brock didn't realize was that he was poking at something trained not to explode, but to respond. The next day was Friday. Wind whipped through the Millstone parking lot as students rushed toward buses and rides. Kareem hung back, helping Mr. Patel, the custodian, stack old desks by the side door. He wasn't trying to impress, he just didn't want to be in the crowd. That's exactly how Brock wanted it. By the time Kareem rounded the back of the gym, the lot was nearly empty. Just a few cars. No adults around. Brock stood near the dumpsters with Logan and Ty, all 3 pretending to be just hanging out, hands in pockets, casual like nothing was up. Kareem spotted them and kept walking. Backpack slung over one shoulder. His pace stayed steady. "Hey," Brock called. Kareem stopped about 10 feet away. "What, you think you're smart, just ignoring me every time I talk?" "I didn't come here for you. You didn't come here at all. You got dumped here." Kareem narrowed his eyes. "What do you want?" Logan started moving to Kareem's side. Ty leaned back, chewing gum like he wasn't part of what was about to happen. "I want to know what makes you so special," Brock said. "You act like you're better than everyone. Always sitting alone, just watching. I'm minding my own business." "No." "You're disrespecting mine." Kareem faced him directly. "You've got something to prove? Then prove it." That's when Logan charged, shoved Kareem hard in the chest. He wasn't skilled, just angry. Kareem didn't move. "Back up," he said calmly. Brock laughed. "Go on, Logan." Logan lunged again, swinging wildly. But Kareem had already stepped into his space. One quick pivot, a sweep of the leg, and Logan hit the ground with a loud thud. What the... Ty started, but didn't finish. Kareem turned to Brock. "Don't." But Brock was already moving. He came in high, trying to use his size to overpower. Size didn't matter here. Kareem slipped a punch, pivoted, and drove an elbow into Brock's ribs, enough to knock him off balance. Ty stepped back, hands up. "Yo, chill, man." The whole thing lasted maybe 12 seconds. Brock knelt, breathing hard. Logan was on the pavement, stunned. Ty looked like he'd just seen someone lift a car. Kareem didn't brag. He didn't yell. He just stood still. That's when Assistant Principal Langford turned the corner. "What's going on back here?" Brock scrambled to his feet. "He jumped us." Kareem looked straight at him. "Are you serious? I didn't touch anyone who didn't come at me first." "He's crazy." Langford scanned the scene. No bruises, no blood, just tension. But it wasn't coming from Kareem. His hands were steady, his breathing calm. "Come with me," Langford said. They walked to the office in silence. In the waiting area, Kareem sat across from Brock. Logan had already called his dad. Ty said nothing. Brock muttered nonstop. "He's finished. He's done." Kareem didn't even glance his way. Inside the office, Langford stared hard at Kareem. "You want to tell me what happened?" Kareem did. Calm. Honest. No drama. Langford listened, then leaned back. "You're lucky no one's bleeding." Kareem didn't react. "You know we have a zero-tolerance policy." "I didn't start it." Langford sighed. "That doesn't matter. What matters is who ends it." Kareem looked down at the desk. "Then maybe you should talk to the people who never tried to stop it." Langford paused. He didn't have an answer. When the dust settled and the weekend passed, Kareem didn't return to school a hero. By Monday, the entire school had heard about the fight. Whispers followed him through the halls. Students moved aside, not out of respect, but caution. He wasn't a quiet transfer kid anymore. He was someone to watch. In first period, the kid who used to sit behind him switched seats. At lunch, no one said anything when Kareem walked in. No jokes. No taunts. Just silence. But it wasn't the same kind of silence. It was heavier now. He sat at the back, tray down, ate alone, just like before. But now, they weren't ignoring him. They were avoiding him. Across the cafeteria, Brock sat at a crowded table, telling the story again, like he'd been the victim. "Dude's a maniac," Brock said. "Came at us like it was some movie. Took Logan down like Bruce Lee or something. You don't do that unless you've been in real fights." Ty kept quiet. Logan didn't even show up that day. A girl at the table raised an eyebrow. "Didn't you guys surround him?" Brock snapped. "Nah, we were just talking. He lost it." She didn't buy it, but she didn't argue either. In gym, Coach Rawlins didn't assign Kareem a partner, just told him to shadow the drills. No reason, no explanation, just distance. Kareem didn't argue. After school, he didn't head to the gym. Instead, he took the long way home, past the corner store, through an alley he hadn't used since moving here. He needed a breather, room to think. At home, Uncle Reggie was watching a replay of an old UFC bout. Kareem dropped his bag near the door and sank onto the couch. "Tough day?" Reggie asked. "People are acting different now." "You thought they'd be thankful?" "No, I just didn't expect them to treat me like I'm dangerous." Reggie muted the TV. When you defend yourself and come out on top, people see strength. And strength intimidates the insecure, especially the loud ones. Kareem stared at the floor. "I didn't even go all out. I held back." "I know. But that doesn't matter to them." "You revealed something in that kid, and he's not ready to face it. So what do I do now?" "You stay focused. Remember what you're there for." Kareem didn't respond. Deep down, part of him wished he had hit back harder. Back at school, things only got weirder. A couple of teachers gave him long, assessing looks. A guidance counselor even pulled him aside for a check-in. "Just making sure you're adjusting," she said. "I know it's tough switching schools mid-year." Kareem nodded. She smiled, tight and unsure. "Do you ever get angry?" He gave her a look. "Why?" "No reason. Just asking." He stood and left before she could say anything else. That night, a photo appeared online, a blurry shot of the fight behind the gym. The caption, "Thinks he's in an action movie. Scared yet?" It came from one of Brock's burner accounts. The comments were a mix. "Yo, he laid Logan out. Don't mess with that dude. Nah, something's off with him. Why is he even here if he's gonna act like that?" Kareem read every line. Once, then again. Enough times for his chest to tighten. He wasn't ashamed of what happened. But now, the story didn't belong to him anymore. The next morning, he walked into school and saw 2 security officers at the main entrance. They weren't usually there. In homeroom, the principal's voice came over the intercom. "All students involved in last week's incident are under review. A formal hearing will take place this Thursday." Kareem didn't flinch, just stared forward. A hearing. Now it was official. But things weren't over. Not yet. Brock still had one more move. Brock Simmons wasn't used to losing. Not on the field. Not in class. Definitely not in front of an audience. That fight behind the gym? It hurt more than his ribs. It hurt his image. And for someone like Brock, that's worse than a bruise. So he did what people like him do when they lose control. He lied. It started small, offhand remarks to teachers, quiet talk about how he felt unsafe around Kareem. Then came the rumors. Kareem had been expelled from 2 other schools. He broke someone's nose in middle school. He carried a knife in his bag. None of it was real. None of it was questioned. The clip Brock shared online kept spreading. It was grainy, cropped, ended right before Logan threw the first punch. In those few seconds, Kareem looked like the one starting it calm, focused, dangerous. Brock added captions, "Watch him. He doesn't move like a normal kid. Hashtag millstone threat hash not one of us." The replies got darker. "He's not like us. Bet he learned that in juvie. Kick him out before something worse happens." Kareem saw it all. He didn't respond. Didn't defend himself online. But silence comes at a price. That Tuesday, the school called his mom. By Wednesday, the district scheduled a formal hearing. Kareem would have to appear with a guardian. Reggie took the day off work. The hearing room was plain, just a big table, a few folders, and a lot of judgment. On one side sat the principal, Mr. Langford, a school board official and the head of student discipline. On the other side, Kareem, Reggie, and a folder of notes Reggie made Kareem write, just in case. Brock wasn't there. He didn't have to be. His version was already in the room. Langford began, "We've had multiple concerns raised by students, staff, and parents. Our job is to determine if Kareem Tolliver poses a safety risk to the school community." Reggie leaned in. "My nephew isn't a threat. He knows how to protect himself. He didn't start anything. He tried to walk away. He even warned them." A board member adjusted his glasses. "Is it true he's trained in combat?" Reggie didn't blink. "Yes, but training doesn't mean violence. It means restraint. It means he knows how not to hurt someone." An assistant principal chimed in. "There's a video making rounds. It doesn't show what started the fight." "Of course it doesn't," Reggie cut in. "It's been edited." The room went silent. Kareem finally spoke. "They came for me. I didn't swing first. I didn't even want to be there." The board member tapped his folder. "But we have records showing your involvement in a violent altercation." Kareem asked, steady and calm. "So what was I supposed to do? Let them beat me?" Silence again. Reggie leaned back. "This isn't just about a fight. It's about what you think my nephew is. You see a tall, quiet black boy who defends himself and assumes he's the threat." Langford shifted uncomfortably. The board member scribbled a note. No decision that day. They needed more time. Outside, Reggie exhaled. "You did good." "Doesn't feel like it." "They heard you. They may not admit it, but they did." That night, Kareem skipped dinner. He sat on the back steps, looking at the stars, wondering how doing the right thing still left him feeling wrong. He didn't know if the system wanted him to win. He didn't even know what winning meant anymore. But the real turning point came from someone he least expected. Thursday morning hung heavy with tension. No verdict had been announced, but Millstone felt like it already knew. As Kareem stepped through the doors, he could tell he wasn't a student now. He was a symbol, a rumor wearing sneakers. Students glanced, whispered. Some just avoided him altogether. At lunch, the usual table in the back felt colder. He picked at his food. Halfway through his apple, someone sat across from him. A white girl, short auburn hair, big glasses, quiet. He recognized her from class. Always sketching. Never talked. Her name was Delaney Foster. She didn't say hi. She leaned forward and whispered, "I saw everything." Kareem blinked. "What happened behind the gym?" Delaney started. "I saw it. I didn't mean to. I was sketching the dumpsters for an art project. I didn't say anything because I didn't want to get pulled into it. But this hearing, it's not fair." Kareem looked at her. "Why are you telling me this now?" "Because if they kick you out because of Brock's lie and I stay silent, I'm just as wrong." He paused, unsure. "You're not playing with me?" "No," she said, eyes steady. "I already told the assistant principal. I'm showing up to the follow-up hearing." That evening, when Reggie came home, Kareem told him everything. "She's gonna testify?" "Yeah." "You trust her?" "I'm not sure. But she sounded like she meant it." Reggie nodded. Sometimes good people stay silent until it costs too much to stay quiet. Friday's hearing had a different energy. Delaney sat at the end of the table, hands folded, voice shaking, but her words came through strong. They trapped him 3 against 1. Logan swung first. Kareem defended himself. He told him to back off. More than once. "I saw it all." The room shifted. Even Langford stopped writing. "And you didn't say anything sooner?" a board member asked. Delaney lowered her head. "I was scared." "But that's not a good enough reason." Her voice cracked just a little. 15 minutes later, they dismissed everyone. Out in the parking lot, the cold cut through their jackets. "She didn't have to do that," Kareem said. "No," Reggie agreed. "But she did." The email arrived the next morning. Kareem Tolliver will not face disciplinary action. The school acknowledges clear evidence of self-defense. Reggie printed it out and stuck it to the fridge. But just because the hearing was over didn't mean everything was back to normal. That next week at school, things were quieter. No snide comments, no shoves. Brock didn't say a word. He wouldn't even make eye contact. Logan came back, head low. Ty changed lunch tables completely. One afternoon, Kareem was at his locker when Delaney walked past. She didn't speak, just gave a small wave. He smiled. A little. Not everything needs words. Still, Kareem felt the atmosphere shift, not just around him, but around the whole school. He saw 2 freshmen step in when another kid got teased near the gym. He saw a teacher actually interrupt when someone made a slick comment in class. Small changes, but real ones. And even after justice, Kareem carried something heavier than bruises. The last bell of the semester rang. The halls erupted. Backpacks slung, lockers slamming, kids shouting about when to break. But Kareem stood by his locker, unmoving, letting the rush pass him by. No more meetings. No threats. No whispers. But peace? That was a different story. He'd survived. But surviving isn't the same as healing. As he started to leave, Miss Curtis, his English teacher, called out, "Hey, Kareem." "Hold on." He turned. "We're doing a student-led assembly tomorrow." One of the speakers dropped out. A few of us thought, maybe you'd like to say something. He froze. "Like, speak in front of the school?" She gave a gentle smile. "Only if you want to. But I think people need to hear from you." The real you, not the version that's been passed around. Kareem didn't answer, just gave a small nod and left. That night, he sat on the floor of his room, a notepad in front of him. Blank. He held the pen, stared. An hour passed before he finally wrote one line. I didn't ask to be here, but I'm not going anywhere either. The next morning, the auditorium was full, lights low, students fidgeting, teachers lined the walls. Kareem waited behind the curtain until his name was called. He walked up. No paper, no speech, just his voice. I've been called a lot of things since I got here. Quiet, weird, dangerous. Some of you probably still don't know what to think of me. A few awkward chuckles. I didn't come here to fight. I came here to finish high school. I just wanted what everyone else wants, to get through the day without problems. He looked around. The crowd went still. I'm not perfect. I've made mistakes. I've been angry. I've been hurt. But if the only version of me you've heard is someone else's story, then you don't really know me. Silence. I'm from a place where keeping your head down can keep you alive, where you learn early when to speak and when not to. But being quiet here? It just made people talk louder. He paused. I'm thankful for the ones who listened, and even the ones who didn't, because I'm still here. You didn't scare me off. Somewhere in the middle of the gym, Delaney watched. Still. Silent. Kareem looked up again. What I'm trying to say is, don't label people you don't know. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're carrying. He glanced around. Next time, instead of laughing or pushing or posting lies, maybe just try asking. He stepped back. The mic clicked off. No cheers. Not right away. Just a quiet moment. Then a single clap. Then another. Then it spread, soft, real, honest. That day, something shifted in Millstone High. Not everyone changed, but some did. And that's where change starts. Later that day, as Kareem crossed the courtyard, a younger kid stopped him. You really know how to fight? Kareem shrugged. I know how to stay ready. The kid smiled. Will you teach me? Kareem thought. You sure? It's not about hurting people. I just don't want to be scared anymore. Kareem nodded slowly. All right then. Lesson 1, stand tall even when shrinking feels easier. They walked together toward the gate. Not teacher and student. Just two kids figuring out how to move forward. Because sometimes the hardest fights aren't the ones with fists. They're the ones where you have to prove you belong in a world that keeps trying to push you out. If this story meant something to you, hit subscribe. More stories like this are coming, and they deserve to be heard.